What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman. Now, given the substantial nature of the shakeup to the movie industry earlier this year, and after the initial announcements from Sony and Marvel Studios moving their film slates around, we didn't expect them to be constantly announcing new things and keeping up with what's going on as they shift the schedules around. Rather, that at some point, the news cycle would pick up and we'd get a ton of announcements and reports at once. And that's apparently what's going on over the last 24 hours as we have our second deadline exclusive in regards to the Spider-Man universe they're working on, not only confirming the Kraven the Hunter picture we've reported here at the channel as just a rumor in the last 6 months, but also talking about a director that's being eyed. We're going to break down what they said in this report and obviously how this swings the door wide open on these reports of the Sinister Six, also what this must mean for the working together of the MCU and the Sony universe of Marvel characters. Like I said, we're going to break this whole report down, but first, if you could grab the subscribe button, we're giving away 2 PlayStation 4 Pros, as well as a whole slew of other Marvel related stuff, including this insane 1/4 scale XM Studios Beta Ray bill, as well as our third and final Infinity Saga box set. If you want to be entered to win, all you have to do, hit the subscribe button, then hit the notification bell, leave a like and a comment on this video, and if you want, stick around to the end of the video. We'll get into all the giveaway stuff again there. So on the heels of their last exclusive, which came last night in regards to Spider-Woman and what is their second Spider-Man Sony Marvel exclusive in the last 24 hours, again, this coming from Deadline under the headline, Marvel's Kraven the Hunter movie eyes Sony's Triple Frontiers J.C. Chandor as director. They go on to say in an exclusive quote, even with the Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and Morbius postponed until 2021, Sony Pictures is continuing to build up its slate of Marvel films. Sources tell Deadline that J.C. Chandor is in talks to direct Sony's Kraven the Hunter, the latest film to gain momentum in the studio's universe of Marvel characters. Again, Sony had no comment. Now, we've talked about rumors of this Kraven the Hunter film for quite some time, and it's easy to see a pattern now with Morbius, Kraven, Venom, them running the gambit, pun totally intended, on what is the who's who of Spider-Man's rogue gallery, but more importantly, setting up the Sinister Six. Now look, there have been a lot of iterations of the team, and most importantly, we're still missing the members that would have set them up in either Norman Osborn or Dr. Octopus, but a lot of us are expecting that we're going to see one or both of those pop up either in the Sony universe of shared Marvel characters or maybe even in the MCU in very soon. Of course, if you follow channels like mine, Norman Osborn named as perhaps the benefactor that was mentioned all the way back in Ant-Man 2 and could fit nicely into what's going on already with the landscape of the Marvel Cinematic Universe leading up to A Dark Reign. Now, either way, all the speculation about the Sinister Six is fine, but we still have all these Spider-Man villains and no Spider-Man. And then you think back to all of the times in the last 12 months, literally going all the way back to October of last year, that Tom Hardy has teased specifically Tom Holland's Peter Parker having something to do with Venom 2. And then you think about how contentious the reports were of the renegotiation last year between Marvel Studios, Disney, and Sony Pictures. And then you think about the rumors that they possibly were going to make this all one. And that's what we said in our video earlier this morning on Spider-Woman, that the hope would be you could do this as one homogenous piece of art, that Sony and Marvel Studios could all work together, Kevin Feige co-producing and seeing over all of the properties, so that Sony could handle the rogues gallery of villains for Spider-Man with solo movies in the way that, honestly, they probably wouldn't do at the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's hard for me to imagine Marvel Studios, with as packed as their slate has become, even adding Disney Plus on top of this to make room for more ancillary and street-level heroes, doing a title like Morbius the Living Vampire or even a trilogy inside the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it doesn't seem likely. And in this case and in this scenario, where Sony owns the IP anyway, you could just look at it as more Marvel movies, a better way to build out the Spider-Man's rogue gallery. So when we finally get the Sinister Six, each villain has had a movie of their own. Now, if it weren't for Sony's track record for ruining these films in the first place, I think we'd all be a lot more optimistic. And there were a lot of people who actually really liked Venom. In spite of all of its faults, it wasn't the most awful film I've seen in a long time, especially with the hiring of Andy Serkis, with his connection to the MCU, the quality work he does. A lot of us are expecting room to grow and for Carnage to be a lot better, or should I say Let There Be Carnage. We know the real name now. Either way, this isn't going to work unless they're all working together to cross Tom Holland's Peter Parker over with the Sinister Six. And when we already saw Adrian Toomes' Vulture, Michael Keaton himself in the post-credit scene of the Morbius trailer, we all assumed this is what it's leading to. Now it's looking more and more likely. You can't have a Kraven the Hunter movie, a Morbius movie, a Venom versus Carnage movie, and not eventually involve Spider-Man, even if Mysterio doesn't stick around and the rumors of him possibly faking his death in the end scene of Far From Home aren't true. We're going to have more than enough characters. We just need the introduction now of the leader that would bring them all together, and I wouldn't be surprised if that Dr. Octopus or if that Norman Osborn ends up being the main antagonist of Spider-Man 3 in order to set up and connect the rest of the Sony solo villain movies. I know this was an old rumor, and rather it actually wasn't a rumor, and it wasn't from an industry insider. You guys may remember Rob over at Comics Explained a long time ago, I'm talking almost last summer, ran a video where he got in front of the camera and said he had it on good authority that Christian Bale was in fact playing Norman Osborn. And the only confirmation we've had of the character that he's playing is from Zoe Saldana, who mentioned him as the villain. A lot of us thinking it would be a cosmic villain at that, maybe even Gore the Godbutcher. But what if there was a way to take a grounded villain like Norman Osborn, somehow find a way to cross him over with Thor, the Jane Foster storyline, at least one of the villains they have to face, and then this story gets even deeper, tying to him as the benefactor in Ant-Man 2 and setting this all up in the MCU, putting together the team that we're seeing solo films for in Sony's Sony universe of Marvel shared characters, whatever they're calling it, so that when we finally get to the next trilogy in the MCU, what would be Spider-Man 4, and as we've reported many times, this is supposed to continue for hopefully 3 full trilogies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, 9 films for Tom Holland's Peter Parker as a kid, college, and as an adult. Then them crossing over with the Sinister Six could actually take place in the MCU. And you'll remember one other report, and I want to touch on it now, Tyrese Gibson going on one of those comic channels and saying that his contract was indeed to lead into the MCU. We made the conjecture at the time that that's not a contract detail that you would sort of be fuzzy about. You can laugh all you want about how up to date they are on the details of the MCU, like Scarlett Johansson, for instance, calling the Hulk a mutant real recently, but you would know who your contract's with and where these films were going. And if you were just a little more clued in than that, you of course would want to know, hey, is this just for Sony, or am I going to be a part of the MCU, considering this was taking place around Avengers Endgame? Those are 2 totally different movie studios, and although there's some overlap there with Spider-Man, it's a totally different franchise that you're joining. I was thinking at the time he was clued into what was going on and probably shouldn't have mentioned it, and I've also had the luxury of keeping up with these stories every day for over 2 years. When I look at all of the chips, how they've fallen, and especially real recently, guys, it's really hard to deny that the Sinister Six are indeed not coming to the Sony universe and then eventually the MCU as well to cross over against Tom Holland's Peter Parker. Guys, let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below, if you could follow through all of this and if it makes sense, and I will do my best to sort of collect all of the videos that tie into this over the last couple of years and list them down in the description if you want to go watch the old reports, see what we said about these stories now, and now how it's looking in the rearview mirror as we're in late 2020 and all of these pieces keep connecting together. Guys, let me know all your comments down below. How hype are you for a Kraven solo film? That appeals to me a lot more than, say, a Morbius solo film, although I will say I am optimistic, cautious, but optimistic this is going to be a good film. And as I've said in a couple of videos real recently, Jared Leto and his agent just don't know how to pick scripts. He's actually an excellent actor when the role suits him. It's not his fault that he's been in a couple of weird ones here recently, and if we don't hold that Joker portrayal against him, there is room to be optimistic, especially if they can tie this all together. And then the other huge asterisk is if they allow Kevin Feige to co-produce. He is the magic man, and if they let him in on this to sort of steer all of these properties and maybe save them from themselves in a couple of calls, I actually have faith for these to be awesome films. Guys, let me know all your thoughts down below, and quickly, let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. We're still giving away 2 PlayStation 4 Pros, the next of which is at the 700,000 subscriber mark. All you have to do to be entered to win, hit the subscribe button, then hit the notification bell, leave a like and a comment on this video, and that'll automatically enter you to win all the rest of the prizes here at the channel, like this insane 1/4 scale XM Studios Beta Ray Bill. This is in no way an action figure at almost 30 inches tall. This is a 1/4 scale immaculately beautifully sculpted museum quality piece. It's actually from XM Studios, which is internationally shipped. We'll be giving this away at 750,000 subscribers, and our third and final Infinity Saga box set at the end of this year during the holiday season in December. If you want to be entered to win the Beta Ray Bill, either of the PlayStations or this third and final Infinity Saga box set, no worries. All you have to do, hit the subscribe button, then hit the notification bell with notifications turned on to keep up with the channel. Leave a like and a comment on this video, and because it's truly random, the more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. All winners will be chosen randomly and announced at the end of videos the way we're doing here. And if you've missed any of the previous winner announcements, no worries. All you have to do is scroll back to the channel, look for the winner announcement in the sub count in the title, click on that video and scroll to the end. My name is Michael Roman. This is Everything Always, guys. Thanks so much for checking out the channel, and stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.